traveled overseas and suddenly realized that you put your foot in your mouth? Well, I was traveling to France this past fall and was really looking forward to it. I thought, ooh la la, the cuisine, the wine, the très chic fashion, what fun. But something happened, and I created some faux pas. It all started really simply. I was working in a workshop for young French and American students to learn about how to make a film. I decided to do an introductory exercise. I paired them up, and I said I wanted them to do cultural portraits of each other. They could use any medium they wanted, interview each other, come back and present it to the group. To demonstrate, I took out a sheet pad of paper and I created my family tree. And I told them I was a Jewish American, that my parents were very poor and had immigrated from Poland. I gave them a lot of details about my family background and why I had chosen the career I did. I thought everything was going just fine. Later that night, at one of the many faculty dinners we had, Marie, one of the French teachers, pulled me aside. She said, Eileen, why did you tell us you were Jewish? And how could you possibly have told us all that information about your family? We don't want to know that about you. I looked at her in discomfort. She went on to tell me that the French are brought up to be very private and guarded about their personal information. They only share it with their close friends and their family. She then said, you have to learn the French art of seduction. I said, well, what do you mean? We're interested in people who have ideas, who are witty, who can charm us. By attracting us in that way, we want to get to know you. We want to learn about you. And slowly, we'll trust you. Slowly, we'll reveal something about you. I suddenly realized the discomfort I had created for my students in this assignment. Continuing on in the summer, in contrast to this protective layer around someone's personal information, in the streets, in the cafes, the classrooms, outside the classrooms, in the town square, the students were vehemently arguing with each other, yelling, screaming. I was really embarrassed. Based on what Marie had told me, this made no sense. One afternoon, I saw Judith, the French director of the program, in an argument with Susan, the American director of the program. I went over to listen. Judith was gesturing wildly, screaming, this program has to be reorganized. Nothing is going well. Everything has to be redone. I saw Susan shrinking, humiliated to be called out like that in front of strangers. She said quietly, can we move this over to the office? Judith went on to another topic. Finally, Susan and I were able to get Judith into our office and have a private conversation. We told her how embarrassed we were to see all this public fighting. We thought it was so unprofessional. Judith just shrugged it off. She said, we like bold debates. We like intriguing ideas. We enjoy criticizing each other. It's not insulting. This is not a threat to our relationships. In fact, it deepens them. That's how we grow. Otherwise, it would be pretty boring. Susan and I looked at each other after she left, quizzically. She had given us these nice French kisses on our cheeks and walked away. But we were saying, what do we do about this? We were less dismayed. And we thought, well, maybe we have just something else to figure out about the French. By this time, I felt like I knew nothing about the French and their communication styles. I had spent a lot of time in France visiting, working, but suddenly I was confused. I had no confidence. It made me think back to another time I had worked in France. A colleague of mine who owned a French consulting firm asked me to come over and work with them to develop a new cross-cultural communications course for managers. I went over, I stayed there for a month. I came to very much enjoy 2-hour lunches with wine and delicious food and talking about everything under the sun except the business at hand. I went back to the United States. We had a contract. Yay, we sold our first program. Since it was in the United States, I figured I was going to be the team lead. French people would work with me. Every time I called them, I emailed them, I was getting no response. I didn't get the materials I needed. Finally, I said, okay, just forget it. Jean, the French partner, came over to be my co-trainer. But he sat way in the back, and he didn't do very much to help me with a group of male, middle-aged businessmen who wanted to know nothing about learning how to work with people from different cultures. Finally, when he did get up and did his spiel, he was very helpful and very good. And I said to him at the end, what's going on? He said, don't you know that the French use time as a negotiating strategy for power? My jaw dropped. I realized I hadn't wooed him. I hadn't gained his trust. And he, therefore, could not be my partner. Each of these incidents taught me something more about French and American cultural styles. And most Americans and most French people behave according to their cultural norms, but not everyone does. So you have to be really careful not to apply these broad generalizations and think about everyone uniquely before you interpret their behavior. So now I challenge all of you. The next time that you go overseas, try to take your glasses off and try to see through the other person's eyes. Be curious and learn. Have fun. Bon voyage et bonne chance. Safe travels and good luck.